right now on 5 on your side at 10.
More clouds, more fog, and one more rain chance this weekend before we exit this gloomy pattern. What you need to know as you make your weekend plans.
Granny cams. They can help you monitor your loved one's care in nursing homes. Tonight we verify if they're legal. Our top story, it's happened again. A Metro East firehouse hit by gunfire.
It is very unsettling. We got a little sitting area right here that's pretty much in the line of fire.
For the second time this month, bullets have hit the Camp Jackson fire station. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush.
I'm Kelly Jackson. The first time was during New Year's celebrations. 5 on your side's Laura Barcheski went back tonight to talk with the fire chief, who has a message for the person firing these shots. Laura.
Mike and Kelly, the chief tells me this is one too many close calls, and they have no idea where the bullets are coming from. But this time they were able to provide a shell casing to police.
The first bullet to hit the Camp Jackson Fire Department came flying through the garage door window on New Year's Eve, narrowly missing firefighter Miles Hogan's head.
As I was walking, I heard a gunshot. I didn't know where it came from, and I looked over and I saw glass shattered everywhere. So I retreat to the back towards where the rest of the firefighters at, and that's when my chief, Chris Davis, says, everybody grab your tech vest.
And now, a little more than 3 weeks later, the same garage door was hit twice in one night.
My captain behind me he said he just heard glass flying. I think he was eating dinner back in the back and came out here and found the one bullet hole. And then we called police. The police got here, and then we found another one.
One of the bullets actually hit their fire truck mirror and landed on the bumper of the opposite truck. Their sitting room is directly in the line of fire.
The crime scene tech took some evidence, hoping they could figure it out. We're hoping it's somebody that's just target practicing up by the levee, and maybe it's ricocheting the same. We don't know.
Fire Chief Chris Davis says now their small volunteer fire department is going to have to come up with even more money to fix the garage door and potentially the truck mirror.
We've been having meetings with our internal chiefs and stuff and trying to figure out, do we want to go a different alternative for the door? Do we want to get some special glass?
Chief Davis says he wants the person who did this to hear this message.
I'm hoping it was accidental and they just stopped doing what they're doing. If they're target practicing, which I'm all for that, I have no problem with that. I do it myself, but they just might need to move their angle a little bit.
Chief Davis says the next step for them is to check on the neighbors and businesses nearby who could also have been affected by this. They're hoping this message will reach far enough so that this doesn't happen again. You can also help the department out by buying raffle tickets. We have that information on KSDK.com. Kelly.
All right. Thank you, Laura. Tonight, a teenager is being treated for life-threatening injuries after a shooting in North St. Louis County. This happened around 6:20 tonight, just north of Halls Ferry Circle. Police say the teen was found shot in the street on Halls Ferry Road. He was taken to the hospital. We are working to find out more information from police on what led to the shooting. Just minutes before, homicide detectives were on the scene of a deadly shooting about a half-mile away. It happened on Annetta Avenue in St. Louis City. That is where a man was shot. Our cameras spotted detectives searching a car that hit another car parked on the street. No word on what led to the shooting or whether both shootings are connected.
And tonight, St. Louis police are also investigating after a 14-year-old boy was shot in the head. This happened this afternoon in South City on Missouri Avenue near Chippewa. The teen was rushed to the hospital. We've been working on it, but still no word on his condition. Police say the shooting appears to be accidental. A 91-year-old man is dead after police say he drove the wrong way down 270 in North County. The crash happened this afternoon in the westbound lanes near Lindbergh. Police say 91-year-old James McClung of Florissant hit a semi-truck head-on. 2 other cars were involved. No one else was seriously hurt.
Well, tonight, most of the St. Louis metro area is no longer under a dense fog advisory, but it's still a little foggy out there. The rain has also moved out. That's good news. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Scott Conlon with the Weather First forecast.
We still have the low-hanging clouds across the St. Louis area, and it is a little bit foggy around the metro, but not to the extent that it was last night on such a widespread basis. That dense fog most likely will stay farther north and west of St. Louis, though we're not far away from it at this point. Visibilities around the area, Chesterfield Valley, one of the lower spots, but not as bad as last night. Still over a mile for most places, but there are pockets where it's a little bit thicker. Again, we can see clearly Interstate 64, Highway 40 here going into the valley from atop the Drury Plaza Hotel in Chesterfield. So we got a clear shot at that tonight. We did not have that last night or this morning. So the dense fog advisory north and west and southwest of St. Louis. Just give yourself some extra time here as you maneuver through those areas of dense fog. If we have dense fog in the metro area, it would be much more patchy than what we saw earlier today. Clouds are lingering until Sunday, and there are rain chances again Saturday. But there's a lot of good news in the 10-day forecast. We'll see in a few minutes.
Looking forward to that, Scott. Developing tonight, dozens of displaced tenants at a Midtown apartment building now have less than 2 weeks to find new permanent housing.
The owners of Heritage House say they will close the high-rise for at least a year after frozen water pipes burst and left tenants without heat. Our Robert Townsend is live tonight outside that apartment building. Robert.
Mike and Kelly, this is a copy of the letter tenants say they received from Heritage House on Tuesday. Now worried, tenants say their lives are in limbo. 5 years ago, when Monica Bolin and her husband moved into the Heritage House apartment building, she was all smiles.
I did. I enjoyed it. When we moved there, it was a beautiful place.
But now
it's like Nightmare on Olive Street.
A nightmare that's brought her to tears.
You wouldn't even believe it's the same place.
More than a week ago, several frozen water pipes at the Midtown St. Louis high-rise burst and flooded the building. Bolin and more than 100 fellow tenants had to evacuate their homes. Sansone Property Management Company, which oversees Heritage House, temporarily put tenants at the Ballpark Hilton downtown. Sunday, the company moved the tenants to the Hilton St. Louis Airport.
I am so disappointed.
Because now, in an unsigned letter to tenants, the Heritage House Corporation Board of Directors said, due to the damage caused by the frigid weather, Heritage House will not be habitable again by residents for some time, likely up to a year or more.
I'm wondering, what is the level of humanity?
Oh my God, yes. They could have treated us differently.
76-year-old Kinsella Berry is one of the tenants now receiving food donated from local groups. She too is worried because during a meeting Thursday, Heritage House officials said they will now cover tenants' hotel costs through February 6th, but then these seniors and others must find their own permanent housing.
I think that is horrible. I don't appreciate that at all.
Now, the tenants also say Heritage House will refund their January rent and security deposit. Now, I reached out to that company, but at this hour, I still haven't heard from them. We're live in Midtown. Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Tonight, a warrant is out for a Kansas City man accused of threatening to, quote, shoot up the St. Charles Municipal Courthouse. According to court documents, Timothy Sarkisian threatened the court clerk over the phone today, demanding the clerk fix his felony charges. Investigators pinged his cell phone in Wright City. Sarkisian was facing harassment and property damage charges. He is now wanted on charges of making a terroristic threat. Tonight, a resident of the Salvation Army Center is in the Central West Inn is charged with trying to set the facility on fire. According to court documents, Michael Mayer was seen in the warehouse using a blowtorch and a can of diesel fuel to set the mattresses on fire. The building sprinkler system put the fire out. No one was hurt.
Keeping dangerous drugs out of the wrong hands and off the streets in St. Louis County. That was the focus of a safety town hall in Baldwin tonight. Residents heard directly from DEA agents on the efforts to stem the flow of fentanyl and xyloline. That's in the area. County Councilman Mark Harder wanted to spread the message about the dangers of the powerful sedatives.
I think some folks west of 270 tend to put their heads in the sand a little bit about these type of topics, and I want to make sure that they are getting the same emphasis that is happening in other parts of the region as well.
Representatives from local treatment and recovery groups were also on hand tonight.
Many of you have a loved one in a long-term care facility. Tonight, our Verify team finds out if Missourians can install a camera to monitor their care. Here's Ann Allred.
Our question, is it true that in the state of Missouri you can install a camera in your loved one's room inside of a long-term care facility? Our sources, Missouri's Authorized Electronic Monitoring and Long-Term Care Facilities Act, Keith Sappington, Executive Director of the Missouri Assisted Living Association, and Lisa Cox, Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services. In August of 2020, during the COVID pandemic, a law was passed giving residents of a long-term care facility the right to put a camera in their room. That same right extends to guardians or legal representatives of that resident. There are some stipulations, though, including the resident must tell the facility about the camera before installing it. The resident must fill out the required forms. The facility will provide them. The camera must be in an open and fixed position. Any roommates must give consent. And the resident must pay for all costs associated with the camera except for electricity. The facility must make reasonable accommodations for the camera, like a place to mount it and access to power sources. It's illegal for a facility to not admit a resident or remove a resident because they want a camera in their room. We can verify yes. In the state of Missouri, you can install a camera in your loved one's room inside a long-term care facility. I'm Ann Allred, 5 on your side.
Have you seen something online you're not sure about? Have a question you want verified? Send an email to Ann. The address, verify@ksdk.com.
Tonight, we're searching for solutions in Baltimore, where students master Spanish before English.
You can use one language to unlock another language.
And that's not the only way they're flipping the lesson plan on public education.
We don't have zoned high schools. What we have is a high school choice process.
How it's translating into student and school success.
A murky morning Friday, where the fog is expected to impact travel and why we are still on a waiting list to see sunshine.
Tonight, we continue our Searching for Solutions segment in Baltimore. There, city schools are faced with several challenges similar to what St. Louis Public Schools battle.
Yeah, that includes declining enrollment and low test scores. 5 on your side's Brent Solomon shows us how Baltimore Public Schools are taking non-traditional approaches to try and turn things around.
They say if you want different results, you have to do things differently. So at Baltimore's John Rura Elementary Middle School, teachers and staff are thinking outside of the box to remove the obstacles that have boxed them in.
We have a lot of students who are 2 or more grade levels below.
So last school year, they tried something different. Since there's a big influx of Spanish-speaking students who don't speak English well or at all, last school year, Rura started offering what's called dual language instruction. Pre-K and kindergarten students who opt in learn how to read and write in Spanish first, no matter their native language.
We have pre-K students who are able to read very, very simple words, just sound them out and read them. And they're very successful. And you can see it on them. And you can see it in our reading data too.
After introducing this new way of teaching,
when we tested our kindergarten class, the dual language class, we had no one that showed up as being below level. Everybody still has to be successful in English, but they also have to be successful in Spanish.
80% of instruction is done in Spanish. Here's what they're finding.
You can use one language to unlock another language.
It's a gradual rollout. Next year, first graders will be added into the mix. By the time the program rolls out to third graders, 50% of instruction will be done in Spanish, the other 50% in English. There's also a citywide effort here in Baltimore that transforms the thinking of what happens when students leave middle school.
In Baltimore City, we don't have zoned high schools. What we have is a high school choice process.
That means by the time every student reaches 8th grade, they begin researching where they want to attend high school. Each school offers specialties such as math and science, automotive and culinary skills, or the arts.
It's almost like we have all magnet schools.
All students have to apply and then be accepted into high school.
It's been a way for us to increase our 9th grade enrollment significantly over time.
It also puts the onus on principals to get into the community.
Every single one of our schools gets a per pupil allotment for every student they have, which also incentivizes our principals to increase enrollment because they get more resources and more dollars in the door if they have more kids coming in their doors, right?
The one problem is now is I've run out of room.
Over at RURA, students are staying. The principal believes it's due to an intentional effort to meet the needs of the whole student with the help of community partners.
They come to the school, they do eye exams. They literally pull up a little van, they have the whole, optometrists and ophthalmologists, everybody's there, and, the kids get 2 pairs of glasses because every kid breaks a pair.
Year-round food banks, diaper giveaways, vision and dental screenings, complementing everyday learning.
We want them to make sure that their children are whole and happy so they can come here and they can actually access what, the instruction that we're giving them. You can't do that if you're hungry, you can't do that if you're sick.
Next week, we will explore the idea of keeping youth engaged when they're not in school. Community initiatives in Baltimore are getting a boost from public tax dollars. Find out how every city taxpayer is helping fund programs to keep young people out of trouble. That's when you join us next Thursday at 10.
Look forward to that, Brent. Well, tonight, 25 dogs surrendered by commercial breeders are getting care at the APA of Brentwood. Many of the dogs are older and spent most of their lives in cages with little socialization. There are a handful of puppies, too. Volunteers hope to have some of the animals ready for adoption by this weekend, but the APA also has nearly 200 other dogs ready for adoption right now.
Time is running out for a popular sports bar in Webster Groves. Weber's Front Row will close its location on Big Bend Boulevard after 32 years. In a Facebook post, the owners say they were unable to agree on a purchase price for the building, and they'll close in the coming months. The Afton and Arnold locations will remain open.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is back with the Weather First forecast. Scott?
It's still pretty murky across the bi-state area, and we're just not going to see much in the way of sun opportunities here until we get into maybe Sunday afternoon, but especially going into next week. Here's a look right now down in Arnold. Yes, there's still some fog in the metro area. It's not as thick as it was last night. So we're in better shape here going into tonight than we were last night. That wave of rain came through, really slowed the rush hour this evening down. We picked up almost a half an inch of rain in St. Louis. All of that coming right before and during the evening rush hour. Temperatures holding about steady. We're still at 42 in St. Louis. 63 hundredths of an inch in Baldwin, 79 hundredths out in Wentzville, had almost an inch in Union, 4/10 of an inch over in Shiloh, 45 hundredths near Edwardsville, and 8/10 up in Staunton. One thing happened, though, to our south. This is down in southern St. Genevieve County. Michelle shared this beautiful picture. Look at the rainbow. There was just enough clearing or breaks in the clouds to allow the sun to shoot through, give us that rainbow for at least some folks south of St. Louis as the rain pushed on off. But of course, the clouds are back west of St. Louis, down 44, up 55 going here through Macoupin and Montgomery counties. We still have the dense fog advisory. That's where it's more likely to be locally dense. Now, we're in between weather systems, still stuck with the clouds tomorrow. This, though, is our next system, and it is the kicker. It's going to come in here on Saturday, the final push that will kick this unsettled, dreary pattern to the curb as we head into next week. So we're still stuck in the 40s tomorrow, which is still above average, but we're doing that with cloudy skies. On Saturday, dry early. The better chance for rain on Saturday is going to be to the southeast of St. Louis. There could even be a couple of wet snowflakes mixing in over the eastern Ozarks. Not to worry, this system doesn't have nearly the moisture that the last three have had. And by the afternoon hours, say 5, 6 o'clock, by the time it gets dark, the rain is pulling away from St. Louis. So much lighter as we head into Saturday on your rainfall potential. Sunday's dry, and we are hopeful, but can't guarantee it, especially considering how cloudy it has been for the past week, that we do get some clearing Sunday afternoon. And if it doesn't come Sunday afternoon, it's almost a lock that next week is going to be significantly brighter and warmer. So the average high tomorrow, 41 degrees. Yeah. We're already above average without sunshine. We add some sunshine to that after a seasonable weekend, and then boom, we're back into the 50s next week, maybe 60.
We could all use a little sunshine.
Oh, we
after
could
all
use
this dreariness.
Absolutely. It's been long.
Yeah. Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
We live in an NFL crazy town. I will explain. We have a team in town who's now won 117 games in a row. And on Frankly Speaking, those brilliant Blues.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
Scheduling any TV program opposite the NFL is like playing John Wooden's UCLA Bruins. You are going to get slaughtered. So on championship weekend this Sunday, it's the NFL's World from 2 to 9. And despite the fact that the NFL acted like the warden from Shawshank Redemption to our city, we can't help but watch the product. This is amazing. Last week for the Bills and Chiefs game, our market had the 3rd highest TV ratings in the country. Yeah, St. Louis is a terrible NFL town. Good thing they got out of here. Let's talk about a different football now. City SC training camp is rolling along in Port St. Lucie, Florida. A.Z. Jackson rejoined the squad after his first call-up to the U.S. national team. City plays a preseason game tomorrow as they get ready for their championship club debut in less than a month. And as the new roster takes shape, this club is still far away from forming an opening day lineup.
Excited for positional battles. We're not even there yet, right? Some guys are at slightly different levels, and that you can see over the last couple of days. But again, at the end of the day, in 4 or 5 weeks' time, we need to be at the same level and firing on all cylinders.
Speaking of firing on all cylinders, 25 years ago, Kent Williams put on a show for the ages for Mount Vernon High School at the Shootout. 48 points. He scored 2,000 points in high school and another 2,000 at SIU Carbondale. Kent is now the head coach at DeSmet. He calls this team his best shooting team ever. They're shooting 40 from 3. Dylan Duff may be a quarterback at Mizzou in a few years, but for now, he's a shooter at DeSmet. Parkway Central has some shooters too. That's Oliver Coquel right there. Ian Thomas with the Earl the Pearl spin move. DeSmet wins it 57-53.
I just think we're hovering at good right now. You guys feel me a little bit? All right? And I think we have so much more potential to be great.
Who are we?
Incarnate Word has the nation's best 116-game winning streak. Coach Dan Rolfus never satisfied. Red Knights hosted Julie Matheny and St. Joe's tonight, and that's Nevaeh Caffey getting the steal and the score. St. Joe's got 2 on the other end. This is Piper Mooney with a layup. Incarnate Word would dial it in from deep. Zoe Best is among the best in town. She drills the triple, and Incarnate wins their 117th game in a row, 72-29 over St. Joe's. Finally tonight, on December 12th, the Blues had just lost their 4th consecutive game, and head coach Craig Berube was fired. Talk about unpopular moves. That was like trading Red Berenson or Keith Hernandez. I'm here to say the least popular sports move of the year could be the smartest sports move of the year. The Chief was great and will never be forgotten. But with the same team, Berube won 46% of his games. Drew Bannister has won 61% of his. The power play under Berube had an 8% success rate. With Bannister, the number is 24%. They no longer trail 3-0 in the first period. And Jordan Kyrou is not the only member of the team just playing better hockey. What has Bannister actually done? Technical moves, yeah. Changing lines, yeah. But sometimes it just helps to hear a different voice. And speaking of voices, just because Bannister sometimes sounds like the low talker from Seinfeld, don't be confused. He will scream at the boys when necessary. The playoffs are no longer a pipe dream. So this unpopular move seems to be getting more popular every day. That's Frankly Speaking for tonight. Mike and Kelly, back to you.
All right, thanks, Frankie. A Clydesdale comeback. Anheuser-Busch's big plans for the big game. The Stanley obsession continues. Unlimited edition Lunar New Year tumbler went on sale this afternoon on the company's website. They were sold out within 30 minutes. And earlier this month, special Valentine's cups caused a frenzy at Target stores. Many of those showed up on the secondary market going for hundreds of dollars. I don't get it.
After 3 years, the Budweiser Clydesdales are coming back to the Super Bowl. Anheuser-Busch released a sneak peek of its Super Bowl ad today. And AB teases some fan favorites are returning for its Bud Light ad. You'll remember the brand lost its perch as America's top-selling beer last year after a controversial social media partnership with a transgender influencer.
Oh, the Clydesdales are so beautiful.
Love to see them.
I know they are.
So stately.
They are.
And they look warm even in the cool weather.
They do.
All right, we have some warmer temperatures ahead. Tomorrow, lots of clouds. A chance for a little rain on Saturday. Then Sunday, the improvement will begin. Next week, we're in the 50s.
There you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis, starting at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.